are coming to you live from the Illegal Shift / One More and I'm Out of Here studios. We are back for another edition, a very exciting edition. We have a ton of shit to cover over what's happened over the last weekend. But today I'm joined with my buddy Rich Wolfman Krummen, friend of mine, former law enforcement, warthog buddy, bike club dude.
What's going on?
We've been talking about getting him on, and Andrew is on his way to the Republican National Convention as we speak. But we have a ton of shit to cover.
What's been going on this weekend? Anybody know? Does anybody know? Has there anything happened this weekend?
I didn't hear.
I mean, I went to St. Louis and played golf.
I went to the pool.
You went to the pool?
It's about what I know.
How's our tans? Yours looks better than mine.
Definitely better.
Yeah. Oh well. But I mean, I think there was something big that happened this weekend. What about you?
There might have been a little bit of an ear flick that happened that if you've just not been living under a rock, you may have heard about.
I think somebody fucked around and found out too.
Absolutely. So somebody's head got made to look like a canoe.
Little pink mist out there. So, but no, there was a little bit of little pink mist going on out there in Pennsylvania. We all know that Steelers fans they fuck around, and they got those terrible towels, and we can't stand them. I mean, this just goes to prove Steelers fans out there, we just don't need you. That whole western part of Pennsylvania, I'm sorry, they got M's Deli out there, which is pretty darn good. I will tell you that. But I mean, damn, what the hell, Butler, Pennsylvania? You got Bethel, whatever the hell that town was that this kid's from. We won't say his name because we don't want to make him famous.
Right.
But another 3 named person taking a pop shot, trying to assassinate former President Trump. What the hell?
Absolutely amazing. And sitting at the pool, and before we bring our guests in, I'll throw this out. Sitting at the pool, having a great Saturday, and then all of a sudden we get told that, former President Trump was shot. Well, then, of course, everybody's in disarray, because, it's the news feed. So people are grabbing this, they're grabbing that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting in like I said, I was in St. Louis with one of our other friends, and we're at a golf outing for a friend of mine from the Marine Corps. His son, unfortunately, was killed 18 months ago in a rollover crash. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Wear your fucking seatbelts, everybody. And we're having a good time. We come off the course. We're sitting in the clubhouse, and everybody's looking at their phones, and they're like, "Did you see what happened in Pennsylvania? Trump just got shot at." And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. There's no fucking way.
Right.
And sure enough, it's, the last time that something this really happened, that everybody's saying on the news, was Reagan. I'm sure that there was a few in between that we've had, attempts and everything like that, but Reagan was the last one that was on there.
Yeah.
And, is this another RFK? RFK Jr., he's not getting Secret Service protection. Why not? It should be there. Granted, he's not 15% in the polls, but he still needs to have it, especially now.
It's a big thing. Just as we were told Jill's daughter Zoe, you're 12. This is a life event that you're maybe not a life changing event, but a life event that you're going to remember where you were when you heard about it. And these are the things like my generation, 9/11.
Yeah.
My mom's generation, JFK.
The Challenger for our generation as well, 87.
So these are things like that kids need to be in tune with, because you will remember where you were.
Where were you at? I mean, I was in 3rd grade when the Challenger exploded.
So we're gonna pull in our buddy DEADLEG from Failure to Stop, friend of the show. Everybody's seen him. Everybody knows that stash. How you doing, brother?
I'm other than Biden, I might be one of the only people in the country that was okay here in the news this weekend, and it was just only because we're looking at houses, and that is a huge thing right now because this inflation and everything else. So I was puking my guts out, and then I heard, hey, something happened. I'm like, oh, now I don't have to worry about this house thing, so I can focus on something else. So it kind of helped me this weekend, but other than that, I'm doing all right, I guess.
All right.
I'm not getting shot at, so that's always a good thing.
So we're gonna pull your expertise for some of the stuff that you can talk about from your past, but then we also have. I'm actually super happy the fact that Rich was able to get this guy This is James McGhee. Introduce yourself, my man.
What's up, brothers?
How are
Hey,
you?
James. Thanks for being
I
here.
can't get any better. I am so pumped to be here. I'm James McGhee. I'll give a quick bio of myself. I am the host of the James McGhee Show. I got a couple podcasts just started a couple months ago. I'm a retired cop. I spent 31 years at the Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which is southwest Louisiana. I did 31 years there. 17 years of those was as a commander of the enforcement division, which is patrol, communication, SWAT, K9, all the fun shit, not all the boring, dumb shit. And then I spent last 3 years as the chief of staff for the local district attorney here. And now I'm retired and I have this show and I can say what the fuck I want. And I am happy to be here, being able to share that. So thank y'all for having me.
Awesome. Thank you
Thanks
for
being here, James.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. We're also
and I'm drinking a little Bayou rum that's distilled in Southwest Louisiana with my glass that my brother Rich sent me. So
From Engraved in USA.
there you go.
yep, engraved in USA.
But we're gonna have also Andrew probably on, hopefully, if it all works out, everything timing works out. But so Rich told me about you, James, and I got just a real quick glimpse of a little bit of your history. Kind of did a little bit of background checking and whatever, just to figure out who you were.
Mm-hmm.
And
you still had me on. That's amazing.
But he said you've had some experience with with some presidential visits and whatnot.
I
did. And I know you and DEADLEG, and that's where I think you two are going to connect really, really well.
Good.
But I can't wait. I want to hear, give me the first one that you were involved with and all of the planning and the logistics that you know of versus what we saw on Saturday.
So the first one I was actually ever involved with was President Clinton back in 1997. I wasn't part of the planning. So had Clinton in 1997, he paid a visit. He was a sitting president, and he paid a visit to our town. But the six that I had involvement with on the planning was in 2005 was Dick Cheney, and then in 2008 was President Clinton again. It was when Hillary was seeking the nomination against Barack Obama.
Okay.
He was here politicking and were involved in that one. So President Trump in 2016, when he was running, paid a visit here, and I was so the Secret Service obviously is in charge, but 80%, I'd go on a limb and say 80% of the security at any events are provided by local law enforcement, state and local law enforcement. The Secret Service they depend on local, and they'll be the first ones to tell you they're a great agency to work with. They'll be the first ones to tell you that. So when he was running, he came here, and I was the coordinator for that. Our agency, which is the largest local agency, was the lead agency, and I was the lead. The sheriff appointed me as the incident commander on our end. So he came in 2016, and we coordinated that one. Then I believe in maybe 17 or 18, we're a big petrochemical industry, and he came back for an event at one of the LNG plants, and I coordinated that one. And then in 2020, in August of 2020, we had Hurricane Laura, in which he came in for a quick visit on that one. Now, I was the incident commander. I ended up turning it over because to another commander, because with the divisions that I had, I was getting my ass kicked during the hurricane. So I ended up turning it over to him. But then he came back during the election to politics, because we're on the Texas border. We're just, we're not a swing state. We're red all the way. But, for some reason, we are a hotbed when it comes to, when it comes to campaigns. So for 4 times having President Trump in this, look, and we're not in a big city. Lake Charles is a population of 85,000. Southwest Louisiana is about 250,000. We're not a big area to have a city. Donald Trump here 4 times in 4 years, man, it's amazing. So it was a big deal. So yeah, I definitely have some opinions on what transpired because I'm stunned. Now I will tell you this: we had large events, none of ours were outside, so that brings a whole different dynamic. I'm sure DEADLEG tell you the same thing. That brings a whole different dynamic, but still, there is no. I just can't even fathom this happening. It is so outlandish for this to be able to happen. It's just I can't believe it.
So DEADLEG, with your experience with what you can speak of, your experience with what you just heard from him. I mean, I saw you shaking your head. Yeah. I mean, where's your head at?
So I worked in Hawaii. I worked for the United States Marine Corps as a civilian police officer on base for the Marine Corps base. And Obama came out to visit every year during his presidency. So from the time he was president-elect till the time I quit in 2012, we were kind of inundated with that stuff. We had to deal with our taxes middle of the year, so when to stop taking overtime. And it was a little different than just like an individual visit. I worked a Bernie Sanders event with Hillary Clinton at Ohio State some years later, 2016, I think it was a town hall thing. And it's a single event. They come in, they do their thing, and they leave. Whereas when we were in Hawaii, he came out there and he stayed out there. So it was a little bit different dynamic. And I understand that if you have the opportunity to go ahead and look at these places in advance, you're going to look at these places. You're going to see that like from my standpoint here in Colorado, on my computer, I could see that there's a water tower that I would have put someone on. That's a higher vantage point than any other place on the fairgrounds. It's a higher vantage point than any other rooftop that was there. So you're going to be able to look down. You be the eyes of God on everybody. We're now in a time where drones are out. How many drones were up? Were there drones? You're going to implement that technology now. That's stuff that we didn't necessarily, maybe or maybe not had back then. But there's a little bit different when you have the ability to go out and advance this stuff. Not only that, to what you were saying, there's the protective detail with the Secret Service, and then there's the satellite offices. The majority of the Secret Service actually does financial crimes. They look at fake $20 bills and stuff like that. So when they get augmented in, so when they go to DC, to go to San Francisco, or they go down to Louisiana, or they come out to Hawaii, when they go out to Hawaii, they sent a blast email to everybody up the West Coast, the initial ones. Hey, who wants to go on TDY to Hawaii for 6 weeks? And you're going to be augmented. You're augmenting the force that's out there. So these as the further on, when he's like as the president versus president-elect versus where he is now as former president and running for president, the detail that gets assigned to him and the scale of it is massively different. Because I remember when we first had Obama came out, I thought we were going nuts then with the amount of planning that we were doing. We would have things shut off for days in advance. If we had the ability to run our dogs through, we can run the dogs through and put people on the building. We can sit on the building, and now that building is secure, it's sterile. I know everything that comes in and out of there. I know all the vantage points. I can sit like you have these abilities when you're inside, but when you're outside, there's a lot of buildings. There's buildings that are facing it. There's not just the rooftops. There's all of the buildings they're facing that have a door or have a window. That's something that you could sit behind. There's the amount of threats and amount of things that goes in with the Secret Service or goes in with moving the president. They refer to it as like an onion. There's parts of this onion in these layers that are very, very deliberate, and they're very, very, very much supposed to be visible. There's parts of this layer that you don't even know exist.
Right.
And the questions that I have is, you have people that are pointing this out for not seconds, for minutes. We also have vantage points where you have the snipers that are on target with this suspect for more than a few seconds. So I have a million different questions of, one, who's resigning? Who's falling on the sword on this?
Right.
Someone's losing their job.
And
first of all,
that's not going to happen. It didn't happen with Afghanistan.
And who have
I'm not sure if they're still there or not, but when you go, so you gotta have someone's gonna have to follow the sword. The Secret Service has come out and they're putting the blame on local law enforcement. They're saying that's outside of the security zone, and that's what But the thing is the Secret Service, you have two jobs, financial crime, and the other thing you do, keep the president alive. And you kind of screwed up on it's not that you screwed up a little bit. He got shot on live TV in front of a crowd. Somebody else was shot and killed. I think there was two other people that were in critical condition.
Yeah, 2 in critical, 1 dead. Former fire chief from what I've read and what I've gathered.
Yep.
Which unfortunate. Prayers to him and his family first and foremost.
Yes.
And the other 2 that have been shot.
Yeah, and we don't know what's happening with them yet. But yeah, to allow and when I looked at just the overhead view of the perimeter where he was, I mean, it was one of the smaller footprints that he's been in. And seeing all of the extra video, and I hate going with, if I see this, DEADLEG, I mean, you know me, like I try to go through and fact check and make sure that this is legit and whatever. But it was a small footprint of a place, and to allow somebody to be able to get in there is what's crazy to me. But I also understand that the Secret Service covers the inner perimeter, and then they rely on state police, county police. So, with having James on as well, having you guys go back and forth with your experiences, I've been involved in a very, very just a minute driving through my little town that I was assistant fire chief of. Talk with Secret Service. I got to see how it worked, but I didn't. I wasn't completely in on all of the planning. This is just fucking crazy to me.
So James, when in 2004, my department had Bush come through the town on his way to a speech indoors at the Cincinnati Gardens, which no longer is here. So I was on an outer perimeter post. I was at least a half a mile away from where he went down Montgomery Road, past where I was at. So when you talk about an outer perimeter here, were you given parameters, if you can talk about it, as what an outer perimeter is, how far out your outer perimeter was, how far out your inner perimeter was? Is that something that this would be gone over with the Secret Service or with the state patrol, or how you have it in there in Louisiana or DEADLEG in Hawaii even?
They're 100%. That's 100% false. What that statement was. Let me tell you.
You said
Whoever
100%, you have to take a drink.
100%. Let's take another one. Whoever from the Secret Service blamed local law enforcement, fuck you. That is not local law enforcement's issue, because what local law enforcement, that is whoever made that statement is incompetent. They have no idea what they're talking about, because to answer your question, Rich, where we set up perimeters, wherever the Secret Service told us to. They do all of that. All we do was provide manpower. We help planning because obviously we know the area, we know our capabilities. They come in and DEADLEG will tell you this. They come in and blueprint the entire thing. We fill in the gaps is all we do. For them to say, we just have the inner perimeter, they have the outer. Your job was to protect Donald Trump, and you fucking failed. Don't go and blame. And I did a show last night, and I was very, I did not criticize them. I have nothing but respect, and I can reference my show last night, and I have nothing but respect. They are absolutely the most professional law enforcement agency, especially federal agency, I ever worked with. But I worked with field guys, field leaders.
Right.
I didn't work with the bureaucrats like Cheadle and Mayorkas, those who should be resigning DEADLEG right now. They should have resigned already. They failed, and this is because of them. So for them to say that is that's why we're where we are today. They took no ownership in it. They took no responsibility. That was their job. All local law enforcement and state law enforcement does is provide the resources at the direction of the Secret Service. And to comment on something else that DEADLEG said, which makes what people have to understand, I covered this last night too, is there are layers of security depending on a person's status. A sitting president is totally different. So I'd like to know how much resources is Donald Trump being allotted? He is not a sitting president, but he is. This is the most unique situation in our nation.
Oh,
ever,
absolutely.
Yeah,
in
100%.
history. He is not only a former president, he is Donald Trump. He is. You're going to tell me what person is more at risk than Donald Trump? So why didn't his detail dictate that? That's what the question that I have.
Which I think is very fair. You know, I saw an interview with Mayorkas where it was
That's
brought
a clown. That guy's a bozo, man.
Oh, he's a complete clown. He's already been brought in front of the congressional committee, shown to be a liar. Nothing happened.
He's a
But
bum.
then when he was asked about them downsizing Trump's stuff, he was like, "Well, that's not true, and they haven't made a request."
Well, didn't they impeach him? They just haven't brought the articles over. If I remember correctly, they've already impeached Mayorkas.
Yeah, he can't arrest himself. So they're trying to get the House Sergeant Arms to arrest him, but they can't get the resolution passed because we are what we are as a Congress.
They didn't request. I got a comment on that. Okay, they didn't request. Who's supposed to request? The Secret Service's job is to protect him. They should recognize the resources that they have and request what they need.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to tell me there's a lot of things. One of y'all said there. I think you said, DEADLEG, there's so much we don't know about. Oh, trust me, there's a lot. So what you can imagine the intel and the threats that this man's getting. You know that they're fielding threats every single day.
You want to tell how big of a badass he is, though, is the fact that he made his tea time. He made his tea time this morning. So,
well, when we finish today, on Mondays I do Man's Man Monday, and the title is going to be Donald Trump is a fucking man's man. Who you can't? There's no way to stage that. He just showed. I mean, a true character comes out when you're getting shot at. This man gets shot, he gets shot. Wipes the blood off, said, "Give me my shoes and let's go." And fist pumps. I mean, come on, man. There's no more of a man's man than that.
These aren't no Johnston and Murphy shoes.
He just stands up, and whether it's the fact that those shoes probably cost $10,000 a pair, or the fact that he just wants to show and be a man. I mean, that just right there, the fact that he sits there and fight. They were talking about this today on the news at the RNC. That's what they're chanting. They're chanting fight on the floor of the RNC in Milwaukee right now.
I've already ordered
organic.
I've already ordered 2 shirts from the Hodge twins.
Oh,
Late
God, I love
Saturday
Hodge,
night.
man.
I already
love
ordered 2. So I'm going to try to call Andrew. We'll see if Andrew can pipe in here real quick.
But Rich, that was organic.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That shows you who people talk about, but that shows you who he really is. He's a fucking man.
Yes.
He was going out like a man. You can't, man. How can you argue that?
And DEADLEG, this is just something to think about when we were talking about this.
Hello.
Oh, Mr. Pappas is on the line. You are live. One more and I'm out of here, my man. How are you?
I thought you said 5:15.
Well, I did. I was a little bit late.
We're having fun without you.
Oh, did the time change? Because it's like 4:26 here.
You must be in Chicago.
Well, it's always Eastern time. You know that.
He's on my time.
In Chicago. Well, I didn't realize the time changed, to be honest with you. I was just kind of looking at the car and my MapQuest, and you got to pay tolls here. This blows. I mean, this really blows.
What state is he driving through?
It's a Democratic state.
Chicago. And then I got this. So it's like you're on a toll road, but they make it that it's all automatic. And so there's no toll booths. So you got to go on this web page, iTolls, and pay this thing. If you don't do it, from what I've heard, they'll mail you a ticket. Well, what do I give a shit? I'm never going to be in Chicago again, probably. So mail me the ticket, buddy. Good luck with that.
It happened. It happened to me when I went to go see Dexter Pitts in Louisville. I hit an electronic toll, and I ended up getting a bill. About a month and a half later. So they'll be coming in the mail, my man.
And but Illinois and Ohio are not like neighboring states. I wouldn't pay it. I don't really care.
All right, so So Andrew, we've got
Hey, first time, long time. Thanks for calling in, caller. Go ahead, caller. Got you on the air.
so we've got DEADLEG with us, and we also have James McGhee from a former police officer from Louisiana who has worked some presidential details, and so figured all of this was coming together in the fact that you're making your pilgrimage to the RNC currently as we speak.
I am. I'm on my way. I've got my Trump silhouettes, like they're, I got the see-through the material that has holes in it, and it's like his bust on both sides of my car, so it looks like he's driving in my back seat. Kind of
So you're in the HOV lane?
No, you're right. I've got sorry. It's a great No, and so I'm driving, and I'm in Chicago, so I'm driving north, and I've gotten a lot of thumbs up. I haven't gotten the bird at all, but I'm waiting to get shot or something. But no, that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. So I'm on my way. I have an hour and 31 minutes left to go.
All right. So let me ask you this, Andrew. Is this your first RNC convention?
No.
All right. So tell me and the listeners and the viewers and whatever, how does it once you get there?
Whatever.
Once you get there, how does the week play out? Because I've never been, so I'm curious. Like, how do the events work?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, there at the convention, like so today, there was a bus that left. So the contingent is actually staying in a town called Lake Geneva. Hey, and here we are, traffic in Chicago. Who would have guessed it? So we're in
focus your thoughts, Andrew. Focus your thoughts.
You shut your mouth right now. So they're in a town, Geneva, Lake Geneva. It's about an hour and a half south of Milwaukee. And so they all had to get on a bus at about, I think the bus left at 11. And from what I heard, it took longer because the security is pretty tight at the convention center. Because Trump is actually, as you would expect. I mean, look, I mean, I've been to plenty of, ad nauseum political events. The security is always tight. But they're not going to get out of there. Trump isn't going to speak till he might be speaking now, maybe. But I don't think they're going to get back to the hotel till like 10 o'clock. So you get to the convention hall, there's a lot going on. There's different speeches all week. There'll be different events, different speeches, everybody and their mothers giving speeches. Is it boring? It can get a bit mundane, but it all culminates with, at the end of the event, the last night, the candidate comes up, accepts the nomination. Today they cast the delegate ballots. He made the number of delegates he needs to be the nominee. I mean, it's a lot of procedural type stuff. It might get boring to the non-political type, but it's exciting stuff. And, I kind of, as I've been watching it online, I was like, oh man, I should have been there. But so the delegates from the different states, you have the delegates, the actual delegates on the floor, and then you have the alternate delegates in case one pulls a hammy in the stand. So, it's a nice deal to be asked to do, but you got to be a political guy. But a lot of the other stuff, like the fun stuff, is all the outside stuff. So there'll be an event. I think we're having an event at the Harley Davidson Museum. There'll be events at different hotels around Milwaukee. It's all political stuff. The cool thing is that J.D. Vance is hosting a deal for the Ohio contingent at our resort, and we just found out today that he is the vice presidential candidate.
That's a great choice, man.
Yeah, so that's why I broke the story earlier. If you follow my new Facebook feed, because what's the theme of the last show, gentlemen? Facebook sucks, right. And you can't get a hold of a human being there. But hey, I'm like closing in on like 1,000 followers already, or friends, or whatever, like in 2 days.
It was weird.
Cool.
One morning I'm out of here, got a Facebook request from Andrew Pappas, and I was like, never heard of her, and I declined.
Yeah, well. Yeah, what was his pronouns?
Was here.
Douche.
Long and real.
Well, I wanted to check in with you. I knew you were en route, and I don't
Yeah,
want.
I mean, so you guys, I'm sorry. So I mean, I've been on the deal. So you guys have been discussing security and presidential deals and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Life-changing
I've been
events.
listening. Yeah, it's
Horrible
it's a weird,
Steelers fans.
It's a weird place we find ourselves these days because, man, I mean, you got to think about that, man. Just, I mean, seriously, the more I've been watching it, turns his head, just doesn't turn his head, but his life's over. I mean,
Yeah.
just a fraction of an inch. Just amazing, absolutely amazing. And I'm sure the theme of the show has been the amount of fallout that's going to be over this. I mean, I can't imagine being like the detail chief for the Secret Service or the person that was at least in charge of the security at that event, on up to the head of the Secret Service. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of heads that roll. Hopefully there should be. I'd like to think there's going to be some accountability.
And we'll see. And that's going to be the funny part, with Biden making his statement that he made last night that I watched. It was very anticlimactic. There was nothing. He stumbled over his words as he normally does. You posted on your Facebook page a battle box. I've never heard of a battle box.
I just didn't know what it meant. I was asking for everybody out there. So I was like,
asking for a friend.
And I was just like, what the hell did he just say? I mean, I know what battle bot is because I'm kind of a techie guy, so I used to watch the show, but I don't know what a battle box is. I know what a battle axe is, and I know a lot of Democrat women that could be described as battle axes, but I don't know what a battle box is. So,
what I wanted to ask you though was your opinion, what the over-under would have been. I know you're not a big gambler, but what the over-under would have been in Biden's speech of him bringing up the January 6th insurrection, in quotes. It didn't take him long at all to throw that in there. And then
no,
you're pairing an assassination attempt to a quote unquote insurrection, and then also Pelosi's house getting fucking invaded
by her husband's lover. I mean, what does that have to do? He's trying to get us to calm down, but he's bringing up the insurrection. He's bringing up Pelosi. I mean, bring up other assassination attempts. Bring up RFK. Bring up Reagan. Bring up JFK. Bring up Ford's Theater for all you care. I mean, Jesus,
right.
This is ridiculous. It has nothing to do with with January 6th. It has nothing to do with San Francisco and Pelosi's husband. It has to do with somebody took a shot at our former president and and a gentleman that's running for the presidency of the United States right now. Which is unacceptable. They absolutely, whether it's Biden, whether it's Trump, whether it's Obama, whether it's somebody 20 years from now, we should never, ever, as a country, allow that to happen.
Yes.
And every American right now with a beating heart should be so pissed off, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, whatever, should be upset about this. That's
amen. Amen to that, Rich.
So we wonder how we get here. This is a tweet from Joe Biden. I'm going to read it, quoting. This is from the 28th, so just a few days ago. Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He is a threat to our freedom. He is a threat to our democracy. He is literally a threat to everything America stands for.
Yeah.
Nothing unifying about that.
No.
Yeah. I mean, for 2 years, the national media has been calling Trump Hitler.
Yeah.
Supreme Court gives Joe Biden the legal okay to assassinate Donald Trump, from Jennifer Bradley, July 1st. From Huffington Post. Wonder how we got here.
He's the great unifier. I mean, James is the great fixer, but Biden's the great unifier. So here's what we got. We got the great unifier that is coming into town, that is, was elected in 2020, that is dividing our country even more. I mean, I remember going with Secret Service agents in 2008, I believe it was, because a guy was down at the Clarion Hotel where one of our, I'm trying to remember who it was. No, what's his name? Anyways, guy was down there because the guy was running for president, and the The Secret Service wanted to see why he was there a day ahead of time. He was just there because he was a big time fan of the guy running for president. What's his name? He's the environmental czar. What the hell's his name?
Oh shit! I don't.
Somebody. Kerry. Kerry was running
John
for president. John Kerry was running for president. I had to go to this guy's house at 3:00 in the morning with the Secret Service because they were worried about him being a threat to the president. Where was the Secret Service this time? I mean, where's the intelligence? We don't have any of this stuff. So we got to get back, number one, as a country, but we also got to get back to the heads of state. You asked earlier, somebody asked, where's the accountability? Well, where was the accountability with our 13 in Afghanistan, the Marines in Afghanistan, the sailor in Afghanistan? Mm-hmm. Where were those people? Where's the accountability? Nobody's heads rolled. Those people are still there. I mean, you had Stu Scheller on. He asked for accountability. We still haven't seen accountability there. I'll be shocked if we see accountability for this.
No, we probably won't, because everything's going to go by the wayside, and Biden and Harris are going to do their thing, mm-hmm. and the Dems are going to just keep pushing the ball forward.
It's up to us as the American people to hold, whether it's Trump, whether it's Biden, whether it's Harris, now it's JD Vance. It's up to us every election to hold everyone accountable. And that's what somebody like Pappas is going up there, to hold people accountable. He's going up there to cast our, vote, to represent the people of Ohio at the RNC as a Republican. And it's up to somebody from the Democratic Party to go up there in December next month, to Chicago next month to do the same thing. So that's what we have to do. We have to get back to that. We've gotten so far away from it. And I would say it probably came back to accountability with Clinton, with his administration in the late 90s. Where was the accountability? Why did we not hold him accountable with Lewinsky? Why did we not hold Bush accountable, senior, with some of the stuff that he did? Why didn't we not hold, heck, as much as I love Reagan, why did we not hold Reagan accountable with the Iran-Contra affair? I mean, so we can hold this. It's been going on for decades. It's come to a head now.
Yeah, I mean, corruption's there. So I'm looking at the TV screen right now, and it says Biden, mistake to say in quote unquote bullseye to discuss Trump. Now all of a sudden that's coming out. Yeah. Now whether he meant that, I'm sure he did not mean that figuratively.
It doesn't matter if he meant it. That's what. Imagine if Trump would have said it.
Perception is reality. You are absolutely correct, James.
What if Trump would have said that?
Listen, right, and Republicans have been roasted for saying much less than that. So
exactly,
if words matter, and they do, and if you want to tone down the rhetoric, you don't use words like that. And I'll say something else.
You can't say bloodbath either. You can't say bloodbath because
you can't say, and that was even brought up yet again. First of all, you're exactly right. His speech last night, he didn't discuss, he brought up Pelosi, which that wasn't political. That was sexual. There was something going on in that house. I don't care what you say.
It's called a love hammer. It's called a love hammer, Andrew.
I don't know the fireman terms for things because, I'm not a fireman. But, I'll tell you this. He brought up so much stuff that had nothing to do with political violence. He tried to do a whataboutism or a rationalization, almost like when you're a kid and you were messing up or doing something, and then your mom started beating the crap out of you. You're like, well, Johnny's doing it too, and she's like, well, I don't really care. That's what he was trying to do, but. What he should have done last night, if he was, whoever was writing his teleprompter should have done, was say, you know what? I'm sorry. I've been guilty of this very much. I got emotional, and we're going to tone down the rhetoric. I mean, Donald Trump, love him or hate him, guys, he doesn't say he wants to eliminate Biden. He doesn't want to say he wants to that Biden is a threat to democracy. He says Biden's the worst president he's ever seen, and I agree with him on that. And he's horrible for this country.
A lot of facts to support it.
Trump, well, and what they're saying about Trump, they're equating Trump to Adolf Hitler. And they're having the argument, well, if you could go back in time and assassinate Hitler, would that be a good or bad thing? I mean, Donald Trump, for all of his flaws, he's a whatever you want to say about him. Here's what he's not. He's just a political candidate. He's not the Antichrist, and he's not Adolf Hitler. So just chill out with the rhetoric, folks, because you got some crazy people that, never dated, never have had a conjugal visit with the opposite sex, that are sitting there playing video games in their basement, that have no idea what reality is or any sense of reality. And they sit there and they get freaking twerked up and they take matters into their own hands. If you are told that Donald Trump is the great, and he said this, they've used these words, an existential, look it up, Jason, threat to the United States. You cannot use words like that. You just can't.
It's funny. During this live stream.
Wait, did I say existential or did I say existential?
During this live stream, I'm trying to send a message out, and YouTube is already trying to block. So this is where they're fucking watching, even though we're a small little podcast.
You know what? Let me say this.
It's me sending a message, but it's getting kicked back, which I find amusing as hell.
Well, I don't know. I think you might want to turn the thermostat in there up a little bit and spring for a little faster internet service, because I know that they said the feed was messing up the other day.
It was
Monday.
It was,
and I think it's that Russian Soviet era surplus equipment that you bought on eBay is not working correctly.
Hey, you know what's funny, Andrew? You want to know what this sounds like? What's this sound like? Yeah, Andrew's done.
It's not as fun as it used to be, though, when you could just slam it down.
No, I literally was trying to send a message to Cincy 513. It went through on Facebook, but did not go through on YouTube because it didn't like and it was just give me information, and it's in the chats. So it's amazing to me, as small as our podcast is, it's still being fucking watched.
So
and there was nothing in there bad, but it's like we're automatically on the spectrum of, because we're talking about the topics that we're talking.
Yeah.
This is what kind of,
whether it's AI or somebody.
What kind of scares me about all this too is you've got half the country that have been tuned in to MSNBC, CNN, all of that stuff for the last decade, and that's all they've heard. Every now and then something comes up and a few people are like, I'm going to call bullshit on that. That didn't happen. And they'll look into it. They're like, okay, well, they lied about this. What else did they lie about? Well, then you start to look into stuff. I don't trust any news. I don't care if it comes from Fox. I don't care if it comes from MSNBC. I don't care where it comes from. Unless I know the person's physically there and I personally am getting word that this is what's going on, I don't trust it. And even then, I'm still going to vet it. I'm going to find out somebody else that can corroborate this story. But my worry is we have this country. Back in the day when we played sports, you either won or you lost. That's it. There were no participation trophies. There was no third place. You won or you lost. And if you lost, you went home and cried about it and got better to try to win the next time. The problem is instead of crying about it and trying to get better, they're just crying about it and burning the cities down. They're crying about it and trying to assassinate their stuff. Yeah, exactly. I watched a video on Twitter or TikTok earlier, and it kind of like, I got excited because it was a guy and somebody else as female companion at the airport, and they were berating some teenage girls or something in front of them. Obviously, airport travel, we know that's, awesome. We just banging down the doors to go fly airplanes because that's so awesome and so fun to do. But dealing with the airports and delays and everything else that's been going on, this guy's yelling at some teenage girls. So some dude has nothing to do with anything, gets up in his face. He's like, don't yell at them. Yell at me. If you're going to be a man, yell at me. Don't yell at teenage girls. Yell at me. And as soon as he started saying, yell at me, you know what happened? The only person that was yelling was the man. I got so excited. I'm like, man, we need some more of that. And then I hear after this assassination attempt, I hear people are driving through San Francisco and seeing Trump flags. MAGA hats walking the streets of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Well, you sit there and like I mentioned earlier, I was at a golf outing, and there's a lot of 20 somethings, late teens, early 20, mid 20s. And these are the ones that are showing me and saying, God, can you believe what happened? These young Americans, these young professionals that just graduated from college that you hear so much about on the news that our country's in trouble. These are from the heartland of America. These are the kids. These are the young adults that, they're my daughter's age. These are, my compatriots' age, my colleagues' ages. These are the kids that are going to be that. They're not the ones. These are the ones that are going to school, that they're going to work every single day. They're not the ones out there not having a job, complaining that they need $15 an hour as a minimum wage. No, these guys are out there. These guys and girls, they're out there busting their asses, making a wage, making a living, buying houses, rehabbing houses, and they're doing everything they can to get ahead in life, while not waiting for the government to take care of it, not waiting for that participation trophy from the government. And these are our future leaders. These are the people that are in the next generation. JD Vance is, like we said, just selected as the vice president, running mate with Trump, 39 years old, not even 40 years old yet, and we have this is that next generation that people say that we need to see. You got that under 40 to, year-old males, females that are coming in, and it's a great generation that's coming. We don't need to listen to the media that's sitting there talking about how horrible it is, because what they're showing is those ones that'll get there, and they're the ones that are burning down the police station, burning down, burning dumpsters and everything like that. We need to see more people like what I saw this weekend, what I see when I see my daughter and their friends. Those are the people that we need to see, not these people that they're showing on the news.
James, can you see the comments that I throw up there?
I see them. That's awesome.
All right. I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure you can see them.
So I'd like to peel the onion back a little bit further. And yeah, I'm still stuck on the Secret Service blaming local law enforcement. That really pisses me off. Mm-hmm. So where we are, the reason why we're where we're at in this nation goes back to one thing: liberal philosophy and liberal policies, plain and simple. So let's peel the onion back a little bit and go to it's no secret. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he put it up there. There's a couple of them, since he was talking about the election being rigged, and it's not an election rig. I can just keep going down the list and opening them all up of all the ones that have come out in the last year and a half and 2 years, of more and more and more and more and more Democrats being charged with election fraud. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but we're not allowed to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we can talk about. It's not a secret, and you can't debate this. Is the law enforcement recruiting numbers being so far down? We've lost since 2020. Have lost more cops than ever in this nation. Okay, so let's look at. There's been reports that, and I don't know if this is true. It seems to be that a local police officer climbed on top of the ladder, climbed on top of the roof, confronted the gunman. He pointed his gun at him, and the officer retreated. Now, I can tell you, this officer is probably going to be the one that takes it on the chin. So we have to look at this, all right? If he did do that, that's not how you should confront an active shooter, active gunman. But let's look at it a little bit further. And I don't know agency, I don't know anything. I'm just giving I'm just trying to be thought-provoked here, being provocative.
Mm-hmm.
But it's legitimate. Is this department's numbers down? Are they having to hire? Okay, that's a cowardice act. All right. Are we at the point that we're having to hire people just warm bodies because we can't get brave men and brave women to do this job because capable and competent men and women said, "Fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to go and work for $15 an hour and worry about going to prison when I do my job." So are agencies just having to hire and get warm bodies? And let's look at it like this too. There's going to be there is criticism of hesitation. Why are they hesitating? Are they hesitating because every time a police officer uses deadly force, their name gets released to the public immediately, and now they get tried in the court of public opinion and they're going to prison. Don't think that's not an issue. That is very much an issue that has to be looked at. And we have to, you want cops to do what cops used to do, take the fucking threat out, then support them when they do.
100%. Right there.
Nope. There's another one. There's another one.
My glass is empty. I didn't drink all of it, but here, I'll toast that too.
Rich is trying to get me drunk.
But James, the one thing there is, I heard a lot about the what is it, the Secret Service, the head of Secret Service. She's got this DEI 30. She wants to hire all these minorities and women by and make it all inclusive by 30. That's great, but can they do the job? And you look at this video, and then they broke it down. And you, as a SWAT commander, an incident commander, and I, we had some great trainers at my department, and they were on the SWAT team. They were the SWAT commanders. They were SWAT trainers, and they trained us pretty much how they train the SWAT teams. Now, I counted from the time that they came through the microphone on that video, and they said shooters down. I counted almost 33 seconds just on my slow public school math. I had to take my shoes off and count all the way up there, and then I had to count again on my hand. But it was almost 33 seconds before the first time that they moved Trump from behind that podium. Now, is that something that you would teach your people? I mean, to wait 33 seconds before they get out of that kill zone where he's already been hit. To me, that was entirely too long, and then you get over to where the vehicle is and you see unfortunately, she's going to get roasted, but that female officer, she's trying 3 or 4 times to put her gun back in a holster. That's muscle memory. Every single police officer is taught muscle memory on putting your gun back in the holster, not to put it into your badge. But, and granted, we all also taught that, when you are in a critical incident like that, your blood's flowing, your adrenaline's pumping, you're not going to do everything exactly right, which also could have went back to why the shooter missed his shot. He was startled by that officer that came up, or the people that were yelling and screaming at him. So there's all sorts of different dynamics that go into this, but from protecting the president or the former president of the United States and now running for president, I think that 33 seconds is entirely too long, whether or not he's waiting on his $10,000 loafers. Well, he should have been out of that place. Forget about his family. Go.
And you heard him like, are you ready? Are we moving? Like all of those quotes that you would see, going across the bottom of the TV screen. Are you ready? Where are we going? What are we doing? Like there was a lot of disarray. I felt like they did a great job of I call it like turtle backing him. I mean, they covered him, but yeah, there was way too much time on the more that I watched, way too much time on the stage. Like get him the fuck out of there.
They were trained, but they didn't give me the appearance of people that were protective specialists that did this every day. They looked more like field office investigators that do protection work. And that tells me, goes back to what type of resources is Cheadle and Mayorkas given that presidential detail. That's the questions that I have. And I definitely want to comment on the female issue, because I have a strong stance on female law enforcement. I think they have a very, very important role. They serve a great purpose in law enforcement, but there are limits. There are limits in men. I think females, and I speak very personal on this. My wife is a captain with the agency that I retired from. She's been there 27 years. And I wouldn't be the only one to say this. Even people that don't like her will say this. She is one of, if not the best investigator ever in the history of that department. If one of your family members dies, you want her on that case, but you don't want to kick a door in with her.
Right.
And she will tell you, I shouldn't be a SWAT officer. She will tell you, she's 5'1". I shouldn't be covering Donald Trump.
She's almost a dwarf.
She's very close. It was her 47th birthday yesterday. So happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm very much 30% is fair, but they should there's so many. It's such a diverse agency. There are places for them. Women shouldn't be Navy SEALs. Women shouldn't be Green Berets. It's biological. It's not sexist. This is biological issues. There are differences between men and women, and there's a lot of things men shouldn't do.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
religion-
think we've all worked with people. We've all worked with people like that.
Yeah,
The
I
one
think
thing that I'll
that's,
say is,
you know,
or the one question I have is, if the shooter, it's an active shooting situation. So first thing, the collapsing on him without giving too much out, you want to get your target out of the line of fire as fast as humanly possible. If that means putting bodies between where the fire rounds are coming from, and that means Secret Service agents become the human shield, that's what they're there for. That's what they're paid to be there for. You create that barrier and you get out of the firing line. 33 seconds. That's a long time. Most firefights are over in 45 seconds. That's a long time to be sitting there in the firing zone. They got to get them out. And then even then you have the entire crowd. You have so much unknowns at that point. The rounds are still, the casings are still hot. You're getting them out of the target area. Why would you holster your weapon? Why you don't know that this is a completely safe scene yet, because the tactical unit is literally coming in behind you, creating a barrier behind you so you can put your dignitary in and get them out of the. It seemed to me like there was just a lot of disorganization. Like when, again, not to give too much, we briefed all kinds of stuff. I knew things for people around me, what we were supposed to do, but I had my responsibilities and I knew some of the other people's responsibilities, but you had a job. You knew what your job was. If this happened, you're going to do this. If this happens, you're going to do this. We have contingencies. If in this contingency, we have contingencies within, we plan for this over and over and over again. Like you say, muscle memory. It's a Secret Service. They don't have a junior varsity for this type of thing. If you want to be junior varsity, go look for fake dollar bills. Go look for the George Floyd stuff where he was trying to pass. That's what you need to be doing. You don't need to be in the line of fire, because when shit hits the fan, literally every camera on the face of the earth was pointed at that podium at that moment. And you fucked up, not a little bit, a big bit.
Yeah.
I agree with, they look confused and they did look unorganized. And I've tried not to be too critical, but now that I know that the Secret Service is blaming local law enforcement, fuck them. Because it's so outlandish that you would even mention that. That mentality is what is wrong with that agency then.
Right.
You're going to start blaming people?
You're
and
supposed,
you
supposed
know
to be the
this.
big guys. You're
Yeah,
supposed to be the big
you
guys
know
telling
this.
them what to do.
Hey,
we were given suggestions. We were not. They decided where the perimeter was. They decided I need 5 people here. I need 3 people here. All I did as the coordinator for my agency is give them the resources they asked for.
Mm-hmm.
And I helped them. And I did help with the planning. And I did, because we know the area. They do tap into that resource. But to go as far as to say local, that wasn't us, local law enforcement, again, I'm going to say it, fuck you, whoever said that.
Yeah.
That makes absolutely no sense. And you need to resign today and go get a job at the Piggly Wiggly.
Well,
it's going to look
and that is
professional with the Secret Service coming out and saying, no, it was on them. Then you're going to have the state police going, hey, man, we told them. Then you're going to have them back and forth at the press conference. The people that were supposed to be protecting this are doing this instead of going, hey, what are we doing to make this not happen again? Hey, can we do this not again? They're doing this game.
all of us are first responders. And when something fucks up bad, guess what you do? You do a debrief and you're like, hey, how can we make this better next time to where we're not in this position? We shouldn't have been in the position anyway, because as not even first responders, as Americans, you rely on the Secret Service. They're like the upper echelon of bodyguards, amongst other things. But you should be comfortable in the fact that, yeah, he's got Secret Service.
Well, let me ask you this. You brought up drones earlier, DEADLEG. Do you like, and I know that you run some drones here in Cincinnati, Jason. So are drones a better alternative than actually having real people hovering over in a helicopter in anybody's. To me, I think a combination of both, because you have real people, real eyes, and I think the camera view of a drone can be limited. But like Jason and I were talking before we came on air, that there could be that perception that a potential shooter or a potential assailant is thinking, oh, there could be a sniper up there. So I think that is also, just like the use of force continuum, officer presence is the number one on that use of force continuum. And so if you have an officer up in a helicopter flying over, as opposed to a drone, oh, that might be a media drone. That, I don't know if it's Secret Service, I don't know if it's local law enforcement, but if I know that I have a helicopter flying over that is state police, Secret Service, local law enforcement, city, or whatever, then I think that I would be less likely to be going after a high value target such as the president of the United States, just in an opinion, if I was to be a bad guy like this. I mean, what are y'all's opinions?
An outside event, how do you not have air support? An outside event should have had helicopters, a drone should have been circling that place 100% at an outside event. DEADLEG, what's your opinion?
So the drones and the helicopters, a drone's a lot cheaper to put up than a helicopter. A helicopter is a multi-million-dollar thing, and then you're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in maintenance just before you even put it in the air.
And then
so
people
most
are
agents
about taxes because
and then taxes, and it costs money, and then you can't fly it during certain conditions and things like that. So without giving too much away, again, we have the government has the ability to put in TFRs, temporary flight restrictions, and there's nothing that's allowed to be up there. Again, without giving too much away, we have the ability to know what is up there. We can find the signals of things. We can knock signals out of things.
If there's a TFR, and not to interrupt you, if there's a TFR with my personal drone that I have, and our department has drones that we fly, and we have a regional team. If there's a TFR and I want to fly my personal drone, it won't take off because it shuts it down. So you have the ability to put fucking 17 fucking drones up in the air.
Yeah. And then the drones that are out there now, we're really cool with what they can do. They have the ability to, not only will the operator be able to see what he's able to see, another person's able to observe the regular camera. You have your thermal camera, you have your GPS overlays on top of that.
Transmit it to an EOC. I mean, everybody can see whoever needs to see it.
Yep. And it, again, I helped write a drone program for an agency, and that my buddy, I can't give too much out that, but the one drone that they have, their big drone, they've got 3 of them, but their big drone has the ability to hot swap. So it has 2 batteries on it. So normally when you have to change those batteries, you have to take them out, shut them down, turn them back on. All that stuff has to recalibrate and all that stuff. This, you've got 2 batteries up there the entire time. So it has to come down to change a battery. It's literally the time it takes to get to the ground to change the batteries and put it back in the air, and you're back in the air. Every system still works. Not only that, if they're tracking someone and I lose my line of sight of the drone, but Jason's ahead, he can take control of the drone and continue flying it. And then we can leapfrog on the ground. Yeah. And then the drones add that level of that onions. So there's parts of that you're for sure supposed to see. So if you see the helicopters or you see the snipers on the roofs and stuff, there's stuff that you're supposed to see. And then the drones, they may be at a little bit higher altitude that are just above the audible sound, so you're not going to hear them. Not only that, we have really good acoustic blades, so you can get them up there and be pretty close and stealthy with them.
I can tell you the drone that we have, that my small department has, for the county, has a 500 times zoom.
Yep.
You would never even know that motherfucker was in the air and could zoom in and tell you the eye color of the fucking guy on that fucking roof. If that were in the fruition.
Yep. But I think what I'm trying to say is, as opposed to actually being able to swivel your head in real time, calling down on the radio from being an observer in a helicopter, do you have that same capabilities with a drone? Is that something that's capable with a drone? I mean,
yeah, because you have somebody minding. You have somebody in the command center minding the drone, so they're watching, they're seeing everything. So as soon as I see, hey, there's fucktard on the roof, I radio, hey, and everything's labeled. Everything. Correct me if I'm wrong, James, but everything is labeled, whether it's A, B, C, and D, or 1, 2, 3, and 4. Rooftop B is there's somebody on it that we don't know.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a lot cheaper to have the drones.
So if DEADLEG, would you agree that if they did not have drone support, that's total dereliction?
They had drone support for the riots in Kenosha. So
But
if
didn't
they don't
the
have
drones for this.
How did they not?
my government thinking of just knowing what we had capabilities back then, that there's somewhere, whether having the ability or having multiple drones up, or if they just didn't have them up, there's so much failure from this. And from the agencies, from the Secret Service, when they say it's not us, it's the outside, you guys are working together. Like you want to talk about creating division, that divides the federal government from the local government. It creates less trust in the federal government because we just watched the president, possibly next president, get shot on live TV.
And how many of these local agencies are going to want to provide resources after they get thrown under the bus when they're providing 80% of the resources? And let's also mention that there is no reimbursement plan.
Yeah.
Right.
It costs these cities and these agencies sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars for these visits.
Yeah.
And there's no reimbursement. And
you're paying overtime, you're paying all that shit.
Yeah. I just cannot stand the little man being thrown under the bus. And even people that don't like me is going to tell you I'm the champion for the little man, and I'm not going to allow them to be thrown under the bus without saying something. And that shows a administrative philosophy. Let's go all the way to the top and let's go to Joe Biden. Every time he gets a chance to speak, well, I inherited this, I inherited that, I was given this by Trump. So his whole administration now blames every fucking body else, and that's why they're in the position they're in right now.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Starts at the top.
Somebody
blames everybody for everything. Kamala Harris, and it just keeps trickling down. Now the Secret Service is blaming some kid. Is going to blame some probably 25-year-old kid with limited training and maybe limited direction. Man, that's bullshit.
Well, they take some, if it's a county guy, it could be potentially somebody that's just a part-time police officer, or what we have up here, special deputies, that, their regular job could be working at an insurance company. And on the weekends, they got to volunteer 8 hours a day or 8 hours a month so that they can keep their commission. And that's all they do. They may work a detail sitting on a highway, getting paid XYZ amount of money, and that's all they do. But hey, they got a rally here for a presidential candidate, so we're going to bring them in. And oh, by the way, we go check that building over there, make sure nobody's on the roof. They poke their head up there, they see them, and they get a gun pointed at them. They're like, "Oh, wait a second, I'm an insurance agent. I ain't really a cop. I'm just here for the extra money.
I didn't sign up for this." Exactly. So,
yeah. So one of our loyal listeners who we love and hate at the same time, but he asked, are you saying local police departments are just as well trained Secret Service? No, that's exactly not what we're saying. We're saying
not in this area and not in that field. No.
What we're saying is, and this is a guy in the private sector. I know who he is, and he's private sector, so he doesn't know how this shit works. There is so much collaborative between the Secret Service and, to your point way earlier, James, Secret Service, they'll scope it out. They want manpower, but they have people that are trained, and you will have local SWAT people and whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, not saying that they're Secret Service trained. And I don't know that I'm a fireman, not a cop, but mm-hmm. I would venture to say that the Secret Service goes through a little bit more training than a local police officer. Can you?
They have very specialized training and
specialized.
When we have these augmented forces, you're not going to. Let's say it costs $150,000 to train a tactical person for the position of Secret Service to be in close proximity with the president. I'm not going to spend $150,000 to train someone to go stand in the middle of an intersection and tell you, "Hey man, there's something going on down here. Road's closed." You know what can do? Local cops. Local cops can say, "Hey, this road's closed. Hey, go around here. Where do you need to go? You need to get to 7-Eleven, 2 blocks over, take a right, and you'll get there. Something going on down here. It's road's closed." So that's what happens depending on their level of their tactical, or not just that. It's if they can get cleared, because there are people that can't get cleared from the Secret Service. You can't get your background investigation done. So they need those warm bodies to do something, but they can't be in close proximity to the president or the dignitary or whatever your protectee. So they're going to go stand out in the middle of the East in 4th Street, and they're just going to direct traffic out there. Hey, we can't go down Main Street for a little bit.
I would want to know what the what type of briefing that was issued all the way down. Did enough trickle down? Did the rules of engagement trickle down? Did everything trickle down all the way down to the person at that perimeter? Because sometimes that can be an issue too. And let me tell you, the biggest issue in this whole thing is communication.
Yeah, and that's what
How
I
was
said.
it not communicated? How was it not? Let's take out all this other shit. Let's take out the guy that confronted the shooter. It was being for several minutes, like Rich said, this went on for several minutes. Why was that not communicated? Was it because they weren't on the same frequencies, and you had a guy that had to contact a guy to contact a guy to contact a guy? Did we play that game? So those are the things that you have to look at in this situation. And I promise you, it comes down to a total communication flaw.
Yeah, it's miscommunication somewhere. We just have to figure out where that miscommunication was.
But
just
it
like,
also
just like any other
At
incident.
the top, I almost say it's at the top. It's at the top.
And it could come down to just something as simple as what Cincy 513 just posted in the comments. Small town cop is probably watching Trump instead of watching the perimeter like they should have been or like they were told. Because
Good point.
Very easy.
It's just a simple. They're just like everybody else. They're in awe.
See, look, Cincy, I agree with you on something.
I completely agree.
But Cincy, I'm going to say, what direction was he given? We don't know. We don't know what direction he was given. We don't know what briefing. It's the lower level guys. It's what I call the little guy, and I don't mean that demeaning. I mean that admirably. It's the little guy that we put in these positions, but we give them the least.
And they're not trained. They're not trained.
We
and
give
they
them
get
the least training. We give them the least information, and we give them, you know what? More than anything, we give them the least fucking respect.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
now
agree
we're going
with
to blame them. Now we're going to blame them.
I mean, this could be an auxiliary police officer that they just
Very much.
decided that to throw out there, that they just came in maybe once every 6 months, that they needed somebody to, hey, go watch that parking lot, make sure nobody sits there. Or it could have been just that company hired a private security officer, a wackanut, security guard, and they said, hey, we're gonna take care of this ourselves. And it's a guy that's making $10 an hour, and he worked the night before, and he's tired and he fell asleep.
I can't wait till more of it comes out. I mean, obviously we've got a lot to learn, and the government has a lot to learn on how to not make this happen again. But we have a lot to learn as citizens watching all of this unfold. How much more is going to come out?
Right.
Because as we all know, that happened Saturday. We're on Monday. We're going to hear 4 more fucking things come Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to hear it. And that is one report that I will literally, when they do, if they do a full investigation and they release the report, which DEADLEG and I obviously know that they don't release reports very, very expedient.
Quick.
We'll put it that way. But
The
that's
Butler
one that I would
Township-
sit there and read.
The Butler Township Police Department is managed by Chief John Hayes and consists of a lieutenant, 4 patrol sergeant, 3 detectives, and 12 full-time patrol officers, 1 part-time dog enforcement officer, and 2 full-time clerical support staff. They could fit on a bus. The
Yeah,
entire
let's
department
blame
could sit
them.
on a bus.
Let's blame them.
And then you got to think too, it says in 2019, they had 6,900 runs for 911 for police. Like I'm not Eastern Pennsylvania, but this is a small town, Eastern Pennsylvania. There's 25 or so people that work there. Their budget isn't $8 million like the NYPD. It's not like the Secret Service's budget. They're going to be augmented from the sheriffs. They're going to be augmented from the state police, because anything happens there, their entire shift is done. They have a shooting on shift. Everybody working is going to be there, and they're going to have to call their next shift in to get everybody there. And guess what? You still only have 25 people. There's a lot of stuff that needs to go on. You're going to be calling more people in, the state police and all this stuff. Blaming them is the wrong thing to do. Mm-hmm. You want leadership. The Secret Service needs to come out and go, hey, we screwed up. We didn't allocate funding here. We didn't communicate enough. We're going to look internally. It's on us. If they would have done that, the trust of the American people would have been, all right, we're going to believe that.
People
but
are
now
forgiving, man. People are
Secret
so
Service,
forgiving.
And the FBI, that same FBI that was with the Russia collusion, that followed that for how many years? And we know that that was complete bullshit. We're going to trust that FBI to investigate this. The same FBI that planted the stage photos, they put the cover sheets on the stuff at Mar-a-Lago and released that same FBI, that's who's going to be investigating this. You want trust in the American people when the president comes out and says he's a threat to democracy, it's a threat to this country? Tell me where the division is.
Which I love the fact that this morning, obviously you guys have all read the news that fucking that whole case is now gone because old Senior Jack wasn't even supposed to fucking be there, fucking ass clown, and Merrick Garland, the ass clown that fucking appointed him. So these are the attacks. When we say attacks on democracy, you have the attacks on a guy that's running for president. They're trying to grasp at anything that they fucking can. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it, and maybe this show gets blocked. I don't know. But they potentially tried to kill him because they know they can't win.
You haven't heard anything about the debate since Saturday.
Well, he just won since he got shot. He won. His chance of losing now is 0.
Exactly. Like it just.
All they did was give him the election.
Hey, we're gonna do a quick ad read real quick, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
Go right ahead.
You gonna read?
Yeah, sure.
Read your own ad read.
Read my own ad read for Engraved in USA. Bringing your specialty promotional items for the last 27 years, since 1997. Tammy and Tanya have been producing some of the most unique items that we have seen here in Ohio. We have decided to expand our ever-growing product line by bringing aboard Tim and myself, Rich. And we have decided to grow our product brand and to Engraved in USA brewery products. That doesn't mean that we have forgotten where we came from. We still are doing our one-offs and our promotional items and our machine tags. From birthday parties, weddings, graduations, to large events such as your entire brewery when you're opening your next restaurant, bar, or anything along those lines. Heck, if you're having a fundraiser like we had this weekend for a friend of mine, we had these wonderful cups in honor of their son, Hunter. We had, let's see, there we are. For their golf outing. If you need golf outing essentials, give us a call or check out our website, www.engravedinusa. Give our team the chance to earn your business. You will not be disappointed. Engraved in USA. Give Tammy, Tanya, Tim, or myself, Rich, a call, or check us out on our website, engravedinusa.com.
Perfect.
And y'all are now in Louisiana.
Yeah, he's got a cup with him right now. Too. Well, I'm also gonna shout out our buddy Dan Varder, Ohio Valley Productions. You got a party going on, then you need to check out Ohio Valley Productions. OVP is your one-stop shop for corporate functions, fundraisers, festivals, even a backyard barbecue. We're talking about top talent, live acts, DJs, karaoke, trivia, and more. They actually do literally everything. But they'll have your party rocking, quality entertainment, and a team with the most experience in the business combined to make the event one to remember. Got a vision for a great time? Make it happen with Ohio Valley Productions. Just drop an email to Dan at OhioValleyProductions.com, Dan at OhioValleyProductions.com, and rock on, as Dan would say.
And if you got a moment, this is something I found this weekend. If you don't mind me just throwing it out there. So I found this hoop tea. This is pretty darn good. So if they're listening, hit us up. This is good stuff right here. Good iced tea. For those that are not there, wanting to drink your adult beverage that is beer, you want a little bit lighter, but the same 5% alcohol. This was pretty darn good. But then I followed it up with this right here. This is a Cincinnati-based company.
That's good.
This is good stuff here. This rehydrated me the very next day, and it was hot. It was close to 100 degrees out on that golf course. Hoist. I tell you what, it's military IV level hydration right there. Hoist is an American company, battlefield tested, warfighter approved, as they say. So Hoist, give us a call. I love this stuff. Motorcycle rides, golf courses, everything. This is good stuff right here.
No, I like it. I'm gonna try to pull that, or actually have DEADLEG help me pull that, and then we're gonna send it to him. And then more sponsors coming down the road. James, where can we find you, my man?
So I'm on Spotify's The James McGhee Show, YouTube The James McGhee Show, TikTok. I do some shorts and some clips on TikTok, but main two platforms are YouTube and Spotify. And I do a couple shows a week. My big one is Two Finger Tuesday, which I have. I don't know if y'all do. They know Tom Wells?
Yeah.
Jason, you know Tom?
Yep,
Yeah.
I do.
Yep. So Tom and I went to the National Academy together. And so Tom's on the show. Then we have another friend of ours, another classmate, Joe Collins. He's on the show. Rich has come on. I do a High Level Human podcast. I do that on some Thursdays. And then so Mondays I do Man's Man Monday, Two Finger Tuesday. I do a Wine Wednesday, which I talk about just different events. And then Friday is my favorite. It's The World Doesn't Give a Fuck Friday, because too many people think the world gives a fuck about their problems and their strife and their whining and complaining, and the world just doesn't give a fuck. I tell them, and I bring it out.
That is perfect. We're gonna wind it down. If you two can sit tight, if you got a second.
Yep.
But we'll wind it down. But James, I can't thank you enough for coming on. This was awesome. Great to meet you, and hopefully
meeting you.
This
It's
will
my
be
pleasure.
one of many.
Yeah, James.
That
James
would be great.
James has had some great shows. I've been on it twice now, along with my father. If you get a chance, if I remember right, James, it was June the 4th episode that we had on his Two Finger Tuesday. We had some good bourbon, some good talk with Tom Wells and my father, talking about how he was a G.I. Joe doll that they modeled after him. So,
which you actually need to get your dad on here anyway.
Yeah, we got to get my pops on.
Oh,
here.
what a great guy! What a great guy!
Thank you very much. But no, James, check out all his shows. He's got a great platform. His shows are a little bit longer than ours, but he's got a great platform and everything, talking about everything like he just said. And he's got some great content out there. So check him out over there at the James McGhee Show on all the platforms that he just discussed.
Some of them are a little short. I do some 5-10 minute ones, and I do some that's an hour and a half. But it just kind of depends how on Tuesday. It depends how long me and Tom and Joe what we have going on. Tomorrow night's probably gonna be long because we're gonna talk about this again. Tomorrow night will be long.
And then DEADLEG. So obviously, for anybody that doesn't know you, which if they don't know you from being on this podcast before, they live under a rock. Where can they find you, my man?
I produce on the Failure Stop Podcast Network, and I wrote all of our shows down, so I made sure not to screw them up. We have Getting a Grip on Things. That's with Elijah and James. Elijah is Mike the Cop's son. They talk about everything and anything and everything, and they got Tony on there. It's hilarious. We just launched the Rad Kids Club. Eric's kids are sponsored skateboarders, and they're got this production company that's following them around. They're shooting videos, like teaching kids how to get sponsors, teaching kids how to do tricks, teaching kids how to just be kids again. That's really cool. We've got the Anti-Hero Podcast. They just dropped the Sergeant Mattingly episode this morning. It's an incredible episode. If you haven't heard that or you don't know about the Breonna Taylor shooting, he's the guy. He is the guy that this is all about. He is the police officer that was all about. They talked to him for almost 3 hours. When we get done with this, I'm going to go do Uncuffed. We have a comedy show on Monday nights is Uncuffed. Tuesdays, I think it's going to be like a clip show, but we're going to do like fast, quick breakdowns of cases, just giving our thoughts and what's going on. And we're going to move on from there. Wednesday is Last Call. Bring you up everything you need to know for the news. Thursday is Illegal Shift with John and Keith here. They break down all the sports news. Friday is our big breakdown show. We'll break down whatever big case is in the news. And I'm going to guess that this Trump case is a big one. But I also found a case out of Florida where a paraplegic assaulted police officers from a wheelchair. So we might be doing that one. And then Night Shift PSI. Yep. I haven't sent it to Eric yet, but he called me just a second ago. So as soon as we're done, I'm going to call him back and I'm going to try to propose that for Friday. But we got a bunch going on. And then one more, and I'm out of here. Obviously, they're brother, sister, parent, company, partners with stuff, family. So make sure you guys listen to him, give him a subscribe, 5-star rating review on Spotify and iTunes. That helps so much. You guys have no idea. The comments, great. Thumbs ups, great. Subscribing, it's great. But the 5-star rating reviews, those are what pays the bills. So if you like this episode, like a bunch of people said in the chats, give them a 5-star rating review. This is all Keith's idea. This is their brain. We're just guests here. So anything I can do to help these guys out, I'm here for it.
I love it.
And how's Rob?
He's doing well. He's home and he's walking around, not talking very
Fucking
well,
show off.
but we're
Show off.
slowly getting there. Yeah, he's got legs under him, dead leg.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to take the spikes off my wheelchair now. I love you.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate you, and I know we
thank
went a
you.
little bit long, but appreciate you guys being here. And if you can sit tight for a second, we'll end it out. But Rich, thank you for
Thanks, brother.
for filling in, and we've got a big weekend. We're heading out on a bike trip come Thursday, and there will be probably a bunch of reels that'll be coming out on one more, and I'm out of here.
I think we'll have. We might try and turn Michigan red.
we're gonna work on it. All right, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and you
Hit
two
that
sit
like
tight.
and subscribe button.
Absolutely, and the surprise button too.
And a surprise. We might have a surprise.